Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rifki Rahmadian, and today I will present about the market for electric vehicles in Indonesia, growth and challenges. Okay. Uh, by giving an overview of the current condition of EV market in Indonesia. In recent years, the growth of EV adoption in the country has been quite significant. This can be seen through pricing of vehicle sales, increased development of charging infrastructure, and supportive government policies. Indonesia also has advantage in terms of natural resources, especially nickel, which are crucial for EV battery production. This combined factor indicate that Indonesia is on the right track to becoming a strong player EV industry. And the slides show the year-on-year sales performance of electric vehicles in Indonesia from 2019 until 2024. As we can see, EV sales has grown significant from 812 unit to in 20 2019 to nearly 43,000 units in 2024. The most notable jump occurred in 2021 and 2022 with growth rates about 142% and 222%. In terms of market share, electric vehicles now present 4.95% from total domestic sales. A substantial increase from only 0.08% 5 years ago. These data reflect a growing public acceptance of EV and the strength of Indonesian EV ecosystem. This slide highlights the government's strong policy support for electric vehicles, especially through Perpres 55/2019. This regulation plays a critical role in accelerating battery electric vehicles program in Indonesia. It includes fiscal and non-fiscal incentives, support for charging infrastructure, and electricity tariff regulation. It also emphasizes technical standard, safety, and environmental protection. Okay, with this comprehensive measure, the government aims to strengthen the EV ecosystem and attract investment in domestic EV industry. Okay, and this slide show the rapid progress of EV infrastructure development in Indonesia, particularly driven by PLN. So we can see that the number of public charging station, we call it with SPKLU, grew from 1,081 unit in 2023, became 3,233 unit in 2024, a remarkable 199% increase. And then for HCS, home charging service, also grew by 202%. And while for stasiun pengisian listrik umum (SPLU) increased by 20%. So I think this number reflects a strong effort to improve access and convenience for EV users across the country, helping reduce range anxiety and support mass adoption. And this slide emphasizes Indonesia's natural advantage in the electric vehicle industry, especially resource of nickel, yeah. Indonesia hold the largest nickel in the world. Estimate is about 55 million metric ton. It also the top global producer with 1.8 million metric ton produced in 2023. Show that we can see in the chart, nickel production has surged rapidly from 345 metric ton, thousand metric ton in 2017 and become over 1 million metric ton in 2021. I think its growth position Indonesia as key player in the global EV battery supply chains. The slide summarizes the key factors that influence the growth of Indonesian electric vehicle market. So the first is government policies and incentive play a major role in driving market adoption, yeah, I think. And then second, infrastructure readiness, yeah, such as charging station, can determine consumer confidence. And third, technological advancement, especially in battery efficiency, can enhance product competitiveness. Fourth is increasing consumer awareness of clean energy and sustainability in reshaping buying behavior. And the last is the virtue value and benefit of ownership continues to influence purchasing intention. Okay. This slide is about the government comprehensive incentive strategy under Perpres 55 2019 for the consumer incentive include exemption for from tax transfer tax like PPNKP, and then reduced parking tariff, and then direct subsidies for EV purchase, and development of both SPKLU and SPLU. Meanwhile, for producer, the government provides extensive fiscal incentives such as incoming tax reduction, exemption from import duties from component, and then R&D tools, and VAT relief for capital goods. Other key support include easy of land acquisition, investment tax holidays, financing access, local content certification, TKDN, yeah, we call it, and industrial zone development for EV. Okay. This dual track policy approach is essential to stimulate both supply and demand in Indonesian EV market. And this slide illustrates the current state of EV charging infrastructure focus on SPKLU units in Indonesia. By 2024, project is needed is about around 3,853 SPKLU, but only 3,233 units can be realized, so leaving gap 620 units. This shortfall indicates that importance of not only increasing installation speed, I think, but also having a clear, measurable roadmap to ensure alignment between target and actual deployment. Addressing this gap is critical to build consumer confidence and sustaining EV adoption momentum. And then this technology plays a key role in accelerating the adoption of EV, especially through improvement in battery efficiency and durability. I think this make EV more reliable, faster to charge, which is crucial for consumer satisfaction. Yeah. EV also become more affordable as production costs decrease and downstreaming policies can boost the local battery industry. From an economic standpoint, the impact is substantial. Yeah. An additional national output about 244.75 trillion, yeah, is about 1.87%, and then a DGP also increase of 100.57 million is around 1.5%, and then the creation job, yeah, so over 538,000 jobs, and only 0.6% increase in emission, but I think it still should be PR besar ya, even 0.6% only. Okay, the advancement aligned with ESG principles and developmental state model that support sustainable industrial transition. Okay, this slide is focused on the role of consumer perception, yeah, and emotional factor in influencing EV adoption. So according to the data, emotional factors contribute 42.64% to purchase intention. This outweigh even functional aspect like battery performance or cost ownership. It shows that sustainability, branding, and public education play a vital role in shaping buying behavior. So therefore, campaign that highlight the environmental and lifestyle benefit of EV can be highly efficient, effective in increase consumer interest and market EV penetration. And then this slide explains how perceived value influence consumer intention to adopt electric vehicles. According to the study on EV adoption, factors such as personal innovativeness, and then perceived usefulness, and perceived ease of use, all showing a strong positive impact on adoption intention. But in contrast, perceived risk has a negative effect. In other words, consumers who are open to innovation tend to see EV as practical and easy to use, which increase their willingness to adopt, I think. Then this highlight the importance of building trust and delivering clear, user-friendly, and then experience to boost adoption rates. Okay, despite the promising growth of EV adoption in Indonesia, several key challenges, I think. For the first, charging infrastructure is still heavily concentrated in major city, leaving gap in rural areas and island beyond Java. And then second, EV price remain relatively high and are mostly accessible only to upper middle class lah, even with incentive. And then, but I think recently there's many EV with low price, like Finfast or what the BYD apa gitu yang mau keluar ini. Okay, and then third, battery issues, I think is being the most expensive component in EV. Post challenge in terms of capacity, durability, and reliance on foreign technology. And then number four, there's still uncertainty in long-term regulation, which affect both investor confidence and consumer willingness to adopt. Yeah. And for the last, incentives are unevenly distributed, often benefit manufacturer more than user. Yeah. From 70 incentive, only 4 for consumer and the others for producer. Addressing this barrier is crucial to achieving inclusive and sustainable EV growth gitu. And this section Wheeling the growth of Indonesian electric vehicle market with fundamental economic theory. We explore 5 key dimensions. First, the economic impact and emerging market opportunities driven by the EV industry. Yeah. And then number 2, how fiscal incentives shift EV demand curve and stimulate adoption. And then number 3, the role of pricing elasticity is understanding consumer response to EV price. Number 4, the concept of market value externalities and how EV serve a solution to air pollution and carbon emission. And 5 is how market structure affect competition. I think highlighting the tension between large global player and opportunities for local startup. Through this framework, we can deeper insight into the policy and market mechanism shaping Indonesian EV future. And electric vehicles adoption in Indonesia is not only an environmental solution, but also a powerful economic opportunity. So it has the potential to stimulate economic growth, create jobs, and support a sustainable energy transition. Yeah. So, however, realizing this potential requires more than just adoption. Of course, we need a balanced infrastructure, fair incentive, and a coordinate across sector policies. Especially this include support for downstream industry, R&D, and long-term investment strategies that can build a competitive and resilient EV ecosystem. And this slide, this slide link fiscal incentive to economic theory, particularly how they influence the EV demand and supply curve. On the demand side, self-tax exemption and the direct subsidy lower price EV from price 0 to price 1. Yeah. Shifting demand from Q0 to Q1, which move the curve to the right. However, because most of incentives are focused on producer, the demand impact has not been optimal. Yeah. So on the supply side, government support for nickel downstream and battery manufacturing help push the supply curve to the right, which reduce price and supports long-term adoption. This double safety network on both curve is crucial to build a stable and inclusive EV market, I think. This slide discusses price elasticity in the context of EV adoption. Because EV prices are still high, consumers remain very sensitive to price change, and especially when comparing EV to cheaper conventional car internal combustion engine. Even so, EV offer long-term benefit through lower operating and maintenance costs. This value is not always clear to consumers, so that's why educational campaigns and fiscal intensive play a critical role in uh, reducing price sensitive and shifting demand. In short, um, making customer aware of long-term cost saving is the key, I think, to improve EV option rate in apa price elastic market. And then this slide highlight the economic concept of the market value uh, and how help address it through positive externalities. So, if we contribute to cleaner environment and reduce air pollution, which are benefit not directly captured in a market price, because the market fails to reflect this environmental gains, government intervention is needed. And then policy such as building SPKLU and limiting subsidi BBM subsidi are designed to internalize this externalize, ensuring the full social benefit of EV adoption is realized. In short, EV incentives are not just economic tools, they are environmental instrument, I think. Okay. The EV market in Indonesia currently show the characteristic of oligopolistic structure, where the market is largely controlled by a big international player like Hyundai, Wuling, BYD, and but again, Vinfast is not stupid. Yeah, Tesla, Ion. So, however, this doesn't mean there's no room for innovation. So local startups still have space to grow, right? Especially in area like vehicle conversion, uh, charging solution, and digital tech service. Uh, so to ensure a competitive and inclusive EV ecosystem, government policies and incentive must not only support large-scale manufacture, but also help empower startup and UMKM to become active contribute in the national EV supply chain. So to the conclusion this presentation, as we can see that EV adoption in Indonesia has grew rapidly over 5 years, uh, driven by strong government support, especially in Perpres 55 2019 and fiscal incentive. Even market still small, however, the industry still face several key challenges like infrastructure gaps, high EV price, inconsistent regulation, and uneven supply chain development. One major issue is the unbalanced distribution of incentive, which currently favor produce over consumer. Yet, EV continue to offer strong economic multiplier effect through the battery industry, energy efficiency, and job creation. Moving forward, Indonesia must pursue cross-sector collaboration and then support local innovation and empower startup and UMKM to achieve its ambition of becoming leading EV market in South Asia. Okay, this last slide, Here are 5 key recommendations. Okay, for the first, Indonesia need consistent and long-term policies such electrification roadmap to 2045, I think, and balanced fiscal incentive for both manufacturer and consumer. And then second, the EV industry must be strong upstream and downstream, yeah, from local battery production to assembly, monitoring system, and collaborative R&D, yeah. And third, public education campaigns are crucial, ya, to raise awareness about EV benefits, and then cost efficiency, and provide direct experience like test drive. Nah, so ya itulah. And for we have to build strong pillars, ya, in national ecosystem, EV ecosystem, including battery production, SPKLU expansion, and uh, battery recycling system. Tuh. And for the last is essential to foster cross-sector collaboration to build competitiveness economy and ecosystem, and make Indonesia a regional leader in electric mobility. Yeah, I think that's all of my presentation. And once again, I say thank you for your attention. Sekali lagi terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.